You good now?
What up, y'all?
Josh and Issy here once again
with another quality video.
I had to pause for a second because I was about to say episode.
What is wrong?
I don't know. It's the Josh and Issy show in my mind.
We're back with another Eat and Chill.
And we're eating healthy.
Yes, I cut up pineapples, guys. Can you see that?
Dang.
That was a good chunk.
Dang.
I'm eating it. No, you should eat it. You eat off the floor.
My nigga.
Babe, but you do. Don't even.
My nigga.
Josh, can you eat it, please? Like, that's a good quality one. Today's topic is
domestic violence.
We got the idea actually from our most recent video. We asked you guys to leave some Eat and Chill topics below because we be running out of ideas sometimes. And we saw that one, and it's kind of been in the news a little bit lately. Well, it's always in the news, but like lately.
But there's been a lot of
stuck out.
Yeah. Like with the
Bow Wow.
the Bow Wow situation.
Justine, Skye situation. Have you seen that one or are you just saying it?
I've seen it on Insta, but
Yeah.
it's just like a post. I don't really know the full scope of the story.
And then there's things like Chris Brown. So we're going to touch on the topic today. But yeah, let's go ahead and pray first. And then we'll hop into this. Okay. Here.
Lord, bless the food that best receive for nourishment of our bodies. Bless our minds. Bless the people that are watching. Bless the pineapple. And these and other blessings we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. I'm going to let you start us off.
Alright, well let me get a bite of pineapple first. Is it good?
We picked a good one. By the way, if none of you guys know how to pick a pineapple, I forgot who taught us that. It was a random woman in the store, wasn't it? Stop smacking. Josh. Basically the woman was saying to smell the bottom of a pineapple. And if it's like sweet smelling, if it literally smells like the pineapple, then that's a good one. Just try it. Believe me, you can literally smell the sweetness of it. And this is a good one.
Alright, well, to the topic. I haven't really dealt with domestic violence up close and personal. But from an outside perspective looking in on like certain situations, I just think that it's wrong for a man to put his hands on a woman. In the same sense, I feel as though it's wrong for a woman to put their hands on a man. I honestly think that they should keep their hands to themselves. Both sides should really just keep their hands to themselves. Men especially, because just by nature itself, men are stronger than women. It's not even like a fair fight 9 times out of 10. It just seems like a real weird power trip to think that you have to take your aggressions out, especially if it's like someone that you say you love and care about. That makes it even more
crazy,
messed up to me.
Yeah.
Like, how could you possibly say that you love somebody and care about them, and some people go as far as to say they protect them and they put their hands on them? Like, it just
sorry, by the way, I'm not laughing to be insensitive. I'm just laughing that that's just like,
it just doesn't
ridiculous
make sense to me. And like, in some cases, I used to be really insensitive
about what?
to women in this case.
Really?
I used to be like really insensitive to the fact that like, if a woman's getting like abused by a man, I would always just be like, so why are you staying there? Why not just leave?
Oh.
But
It's deeper than that.
it's like way deeper than that. One, it's like the emotional connection. Like, you're trying to figure out why the person that you love is doing this to you. But two, there's like a sense of like,
some people depend on
yeah, it's
their
like
significant
you dang
other
near
that they're being
depend on
abused
them,
by.
which makes that even worse.
And I will say too, I think there's a lot of psychological abuse too that ties into kind of a woman accepting that physical abuse.
But I think that goes both ways, because like, domestic violence doesn't just
Have a gender.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't have a gender.
I completely agree.
Because like, women can be just as abusive, especially if they're dealing with a kind-hearted man that doesn't necessarily like believe in like fighting back against a woman, and the woman is overly aggressive.
Or just like, I've noticed all too often, especially in our generation, like, there will be times when women or girls, whatever, they will like get in a guy's face and be like let's square up. Like, kind of trying to egg him on. And whenever I see that, I'm just like, realistically and like physically, what is it, scientifically like based, women
Will
8
not
or 9 times out of 10 will not win a fight against a man if it's like both are truly throwing blows.
Yeah, if it's blow for blow,
so
women don't win that.
I hate to see when a female is like antagonizing a guy to like fight, or like a lot of women even go to the point of actually putting their hands on him and like he kind of has to just sit there and take it. I hate seeing stuff like that, which is why I'm very anti like domestic violence both ways. Like I never would put my hands on Josh, and I don't think that that's something like I don't think that that's a standard that just he should be held to in this relationship of you better not put your hands on Issy, otherwise blah blah blah. It's like Issy shouldn't put her hands on Josh either, or anybody for that matter. It was interesting because like a year or so ago that Chris Brown documentary came out on Netflix, and I watched it with my best friend's mom and I think my niece, and we kind of got a more in-depth and inside like look into what happened with that Rihanna incident. And I found it very interesting. And let me just say this now, disclaimer and stuff. In no way, shape, or form do I think what happened was okay or justified or anything like that. What I found interesting, though, through the documentary is that she was abusing him, too. Like, physically. A lot. More than just that situation. But because he was the male in that situation and her face looked like it was, he got the harder end of the stick, or whatever you want to call it. And I thought it was interesting too, because I remember around that time when people were kind of saying, or she was saying like she hopes he goes to counseling and gets help or something like that. And in my mind I'm thinking you should probably do the same, shouldn't you? Because you put your hands on this man too. And based off what he said in the documentary, and I know this is he said she said stuff, this is all just kind of an example of like how I formulated my opinion of things, but he was saying that particular day when that happened, like they were arguing, fighting in the car, she was like swinging on him while he was driving, and then she grabbed his private area while he was driving. So then he ended up like hitting her, but then it like continued. So either way, I'm still saying it was still wrong what happened, but I think it's still important to look at honestly kind of both sides. She was equally wrong in that situation. And I think that I think people are low-key might come for me in this. This is just one particular situation, but I think that we really kind of victimized Rihanna in that particular instance more than not more than she should have been, but it just should have, like, both sides should have been looked at.
I feel like the whole spectrum of the story should have been taken into account. At the same time,
it was just more so
Chris,
he lost his cool.
Yeah, he lost his cool.
It was more than just like pushing her off or anything. Like that's why I'm like I don't agree with it. I think it was definitely wrong.
There's ways that situation could have been handled. He could have pulled over the car, got out the car, and so he needed to chill out.
Right.
Hitting her was not the right option. But at
he
the
did
same
it multiple times. So he blacked out.
He blacked out.
I don't agree with that.
That's totally wrong. At the same time, she was still antagonizing, which doesn't make what he did any better. But at the same time, it's accountability. Yeah,
it's a matter of accountability. I think to me,
like if you don't take any accountability for what happened at all, and just say it's totally Chris's fault, like it's not like he just woke up one day and started wailing on her.
And this is just an example of their situation,
their situation.
Of the woman also being the abuser as well.
Because there are other situations
where it's just one person.
Man does get up
and we're
and
not
just
saying
wails
that
on her, and that is totally.
There's no accountability for the woman for that.
There's no nothing. But going back to what you said, like that really irks me because I've been in a couple situations like that where like girls will antagonize me and be like, hit me. I wish you would hit me. Like, I wish you would.
Wait, who told you that?
Talking shit. Like, I've just dealt with people, to be honest. You remember that one time that fight broke out?
Which one?
At school? The one where you got scared and ran off?
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah. Why you gotta do me like that? No, I thought they had a gun, so I'm not about trying to stand around and...
Yeah.
And that was my first time ever seeing
And I
fight.
still held my cool. That's the thing about it. Like, it takes a lot to hold your cool, but this lady threw her drink at me, pushed me, said hit me. I was like, I'm not finna hit you.
And in my defense, because I feel like people be like, Issa, you let a girl, blah, blah. Before... So, I feel like we've touched on this a little bit before, but Josh is kind of like a Captain Save or whatever sometimes. And he literally went in the heart of when the like fight broke out or like started or whatever. Whereas he would like these like people who didn't go to our school, they were grown adults, came over to a party that we were having and like just started throwing bottles and like throwing blows with like different students and stuff. Josh gonna go in the heart of this confrontation, which I really didn't agree with anyway, because you don't know those strangers. This is a whole nother story time.
That's a whole nother story time. We'll get to that later. But anyways, I've had my encounters with situations where women will try and antagonize a fight that they're just not ready for.
Now, the one that I did see, and this was when we were just like best friends, this girl's phone got lost at one of our parties. And Josh ended up finding it, and he was trying to like double check. Yeah, he was trying to double check it was hers. Like, I think you said like, what color is it?
Yeah, I was like, what color is it? What does it look like?
And she's intoxicated, granted, but this is no excuse. This girl was starting to like try to kick him, and I kid you not. You know that Arthur fist?
Yeah.
My shit. I never fought nobody. I've never hit anybody. And I was about to swing on her ass because he can't hit her back. Like, that's what I'm talking about when like girls do stuff like that. She literally would have kind of essentially beat your ass and you couldn't have did anything about it. So I was like, well, I'm a girl, I can do that. So thankfully it didn't have to get to that point, because I feel like, did you like bear hug her or something like that?
I just grabbed her and held her at.
Yeah, like, you just handed her back her phone. So like de-escalated. But like situations like that, I don't agree with. I
don't. I don't know. Because that rule, or like this subconscious societal rule that men shouldn't hit women, I feel like some women take advantage of it, and then they want to play like the tough girl, like, oh, I ain't scared of no nigga, this, that, and the third. Go up to some big ass dude and say, hit me, I wish you would, then get shocked when this man just out of nowhere was like, all right.
Does this count as domestic violence though, or is domestic violence only like in relationships? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. To be honest,
let's look up the definition.
Let's look it up. Violence. Let's educate ourselves. Yeah, intimate partner violence.
That says violence or other abuse by one person against another in a domestic setting, such as marriage or okay. So we kind of swayed off a little.
We kind of swayed off.
But it does still happen in marriages, I feel like, too, where someone's like antagonizing the other person and might swing. There's
not a situation that I can think of where it will ever be okay for a man to put his hands on a woman. I just don't. On a woman. But I also don't think there's a situation that calls for a woman to try and antagonize her man. I feel like, because there's been cases in relationships where women still beat up on men, and the men is just nice enough not to fight back.
I wonder, has a female ever gone to jail for domestic violence?
I've never heard of it.
Me neither.
The only time I've ever heard of something like that is when the woman like takes it to the next degree and just kills dude.
Oh. It's a very sensitive topic, so you don't want to be in, because you never know who's watching, or like you don't want to be insensitive. So I hope nothing that we're saying is insensitive to y'all. It's just like a typical conversation that we have with you guys sometimes, and our kind of like thoughts on it and stuff. And honestly, like, we like for you guys to be interactive in the comment section, because we love seeing you guys comment your opinions on things too. So like, don't hesitate to do that below. But I know a recent issue that really touched media was Bow Wow and his girlfriend. And his mugshot came out first. And he had like scratches all over his face. It looked like he got like messed up. And a lot of people on social media were kind of like going in on his girlfriend. Like, just saying mean stuff. It was just trolls and stuff. And then the full story starts to come out of her like 911 call. And then also footage finally came out prior to that fight actually happening, of like Bow Wow bucking in her face, like trying to square up with her. She's not antagonizing at all. She's just very calm, like standing there taking it. And I think we were talking about it with our friends the other week. What was so disappointing was that there were other men in the elevator while this was happening that I guess was a part of like Bow Wow's crew, and they were kind of just standing back letting it happen on some like, oh, that ain't my business stuff. But if you see that was a form of verbal abuse at the time. It doesn't, and both are wrong. Physical and verbal abuse are equally wrong. So the fact that they just stood back and let that happen I blame them too, because you're enabling that type of behavior. If anything, one of his niggas should have knocked him out and said, like, you need to chill the fuck out, or like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess when they got off the elevator, she was like, all right, kind of went in defense mode. Like, I have to defend myself, because women really feel like their life be in danger and that type of stuff, and I don't blame them.
And I say, at first when I first saw it come out,
you were anti her,
yeah,
like other people.
I felt bad for Bow Wow,
because you thought it was a situation where the woman
the situation
fought him and he couldn't hit her back.
Probably couldn't hit her back, and then next thing you know, now he looks like a hoe. When in actuality, he really was a hoe, because he's the one that started the fight, and really, I think he wanted to do it, but he literally just wasn't. But
even if, like, he doesn't actually put his hands on her, which I did to hear that he did, it just wasn't her face, but she had bruises on her too. But even if he did not touch her, that behavior and that body language that he was even giving in the video was too much.
Yeah.
That was a form of abuse.
Like, that's why I say you need to know the full story every time. And I know 9 times out of 10 the full story really is that the man just has some kind of power trip issues, and he's usually like either a heavy drinker, some kind of mental instability or something like that causes him to become an abuser.
Or a drug abuser. It's not just a matter of drinking.
Yeah,
just a drug abuser.
Any kind of drug abuser normally, which is why I lean very heavily towards men need to be put in check. But at the same time,
what do you mean put in check?
Men need to stop putting their hands on women.
Oh.
Point blank period. That's it. That's the end of the story. Like, men should keep them hands to themselves. At the same breath, though, I want to say women need to keep their hands to themselves.
Everybody needs to just keep their hands to themselves.
It just needs to be a level of respect between
a relationship.
A relationship. And I don't get why it happens so much in relationships with people that have chosen to be together thinking that they care for each other. And then they want to start wailing on each other. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't click with me at all. Like, if you're going to be a violent person, why do it to the one person that actually gives a damn about you?
This topic is very sensitive. Because I know people that have, like, been through that. And that's, like, their reality and stuff. And it's just so...
It's disheartening.
Sad. Yeah, it's disheartening and sad. And, like, you know how you can sympathize but not empathize? And, like, empathy is being able to put yourself in the situation.
Yeah.
I can't even empathize with it because, like, I couldn't even put myself in the frame of mind of, like, if you were abusing me in that way, like... But we love each other the way we do. Like, how would you mentally comprehend that?
And I think that's what a lot of women are going through. Like, they're still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. This is the person that I love, and he just whooped my ass.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how to empathize with that. I don't know how to connect with that or put myself in the frame of mind. Like, all right, this is someone that I want to be with for the rest of my life. Or some people are already married, so they're already locked in there. And out of nowhere, just one day he kind of loses it. It's like, I don't know.
It's a scary feeling.
I'm sure it is.
I'm sure. And it's even scarier because they probably threaten you if you plan on leaving. Mm-hmm. That's like...
And if kids are involved and stuff. I just couldn't...
There's so many...
sympathize so hard with those type of situations. And my heart goes out to those type of people. Because people, like how you said in the beginning, how you used to be kind of insensitive to it. Like, why don't they just leave? People really are stuck sometimes.
Yeah. And it's really messed up. Which is why, like, I really don't have any respect for a man that'll put his hands on a woman. Like, you don't get any kudos for being stronger than a woman. Like, the laws of the earth have already deemed. Like, we already know men are naturally built bigger than women.
Mm-hmm. There's so many levels to it.
Yeah,
too.
I honestly wish, like, men that did that would get their ass kicked themselves and just see how it feels. Like, I really wish every man that has done that should really be the punishment before you go to jail. You should get your ass kicked.
Probably gets it. People that do get caught up in it probably do get their ass whooped while they're in jail, though. You know, they don't play with, like, sex offenders and stuff like that in jail. So maybe that's their punishment or whatever, but it's still not... I don't feel like it's still that much justice being served in it. Because, unfortunately, some women... Like, they get caught up in it, the ending result is their death.
Yeah. And they try and, like, get away from it. Next thing you know, he just beat her one too many times and killed her.
This is a good dialogue to honestly open up, because the way you guys learn from us, I feel like is equal, like we could learn from them. So I do have a question, and I'm sure somebody maybe in the comments can answer it or can touch on it. But one of my questions is, what kind of makes you stay in something that's...
What do you think would make you stay?
No, I'm talking about the women that's actually been through it. Because I'm sure there's people that's watching that have. Like, what... And hopefully you're out of it by now.
Yeah, hopefully you're out of the situation.
If you don't feel comfortable commenting, you don't have to. But I really do. Or if you have a family member or a friend that, like, touched on this with you. But I wonder, like...
What makes you stay?
Yeah, when it's continuous. Like, and it can get to the point of, like, maybe one time is a slap. And then another time is a punch. And another time he pushes you down the stairs. And it just keeps happening. Like, what makes you stay? Or, if you're a survivor, like... What was your breaking point to make you leave?
Yeah.
I wonder that.
I really do. I do have questions. I wish I could sit down and talk with some women. I don't know if there'd be too many men to talk to about domestic violence. Most times domestic violence doesn't happen with men, mostly because they have the ability to literally fight back.
Or leave.
Or they literally just have the power to defend themselves. Whereas, like, when it's a woman on a man, if he really is about that life, there's not much a woman can do.
And did it say in the definition of domestic violence that it's only physical? Because I know we keep touching in and out on, like, verbal and stuff. But, like, even, like, I feel like intimidation. Like, he might not have ever put... Oh, because y'all know what? I watched this recent... Law and Order episode where this woman ended up killing... Oh, did you see it?
It's just violence, so I guess verbal violence.
I mean, that counts. Okay, that counts. Yeah. This woman ended up killing her husband, who was a cop. And he, one of the things that he kind of did that I felt was a form of abuse, he never put his hands on her, but he always left his gun out. Always. Even, like, when she had said, like, it makes her uncomfortable and stuff, and he said it makes him feel like a man. And, like, you know how... like, subliminal messages. He was, like, sending that, like, kind of like, try me one day and I'll kill you type stuff. He never really, like, said it verbatim or never put his hands on her, but, like, just establishing that dominance and that power for 6 years. Then the episode, I guess they were married for 6 years, she said she was always scared. So, like, stuff like that.
Intimidations. Honestly.
Does that count as domestic violence, you think, too? I think so.
I think it... Anything that, like...
frightens you from being with a person or something. Makes you fearful.
If it makes you fearful, makes you scared, uncomfortable...
unsafe.
I feel like those are all forms of some kind of abuse. Whether it's verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse. And, like, that's also... like, mental abuse, if a man's always putting his woman down... or if a woman's always putting her man down, that's also a form of abuse in my eyes. Yeah,
I agree. I think it starts with, like, mental and psychological abuse. And then when the physical abuse starts, because the mental and psychological is so, like, engraved into a woman by then, they will start to make excuses for him. Like, oh, it's my excuse. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, like, that's what I hate. Don't do that. Don't try and make an excuse for that person. Be real with yourself and be like, okay, I may have said something, but was it worth getting hit? Like, did I deserve to get hit for that? No, you didn't.
No, there's no excuse for being hit. I think another part that kind of ties into, like, domestic violence and stuff, and something I really, like, got on Josh about when we first started dating, was even him just, like, punching walls or doors and leaving dents and stuff. Even if it wasn't me that he was mad at, that automatically sounded off to me as a red flag. Like, okay, this dude can't handle his temper or his anger issues. And for me, that's a big red flag. Because it's like, alright, if somebody else happened to get, like, made you get to that level, and I one day make you get to that level, you're going to think it's acceptable to, like, if I'm up against a wall, you can punch the wall where my face is right there, even if you didn't touch me. That's still a form of violence to me. So I remember, like, just being real, like, hard on you about, like, if you don't stop that, I can't be with you. Like, I can't be a person like you. Because I think there's little signs that, like, or little red flags that people kind of just don't pay attention to. Thankfully, like, he doesn't do that anymore or anything like that.
Yeah, I cut that out.
But it's just stuff like that that I think is important to touch on when you're first starting to, like, date a person. And just be very observant about. Because, like I said, his anger during those moments had nothing to do with me. But just seeing that type of stuff, I just don't, it's not okay. And there were things in college that is so interesting, like, the older we get, that you realize, like, wow, that was really fucked up. Because there were people that we went to school with that did things like that, where it wasn't, like, necessarily putting their hands on the person, but it was kind of, it was like, it's still in their area or still like around them, and the person meaning like a female. So it was just crazy stuff that when you're younger, you're kind of like, oh, but when you get older and kind of dwell on it a little bit more, it's like, wow, that was really messed up.
It was really messed up.
And like unacceptable behavior.
Yeah.
I remember there was someone that went to our school, he was dating this girl, and they were, I don't know if they were like kind of do little like hits or whatever with each other, but like when I saw, he was hitting her, like legit hitting her, but it's supposed to be like this play fighting thing that they do, like, you know, when you try to love tap each other's face, like slap each other, blah blah blah, that type of stuff. I remember when I was younger, me and my high school friends used to do it, and my mom like did not like it at all. And, or if I would like play fight with my boyfriends and stuff, and I kind of didn't get it, I'm like, what's the big deal? Like, I don't get hurt from it, we're just playing. But I get it now that I'm older and an adult and stuff, and I'm like, that type of stuff is dangerous.
Because it can get taken too far fast.
One hit that's just a little too hard, it's like, hard.
Oh, he didn't like that, so now he's gonna hit you a little bit harder. You didn't like that, so you're gonna hit him a little harder.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not a good sign.
Be careful with that play fighting stuff. Be real
careful with that. I had a different paradigm of thinking back when I was single. Because, I mean, I used to hang around just dudes. Dudes would talk like dudes. Be like, oh, women are out trying to get us all the time. You know, victim blaming and this and that. Men have a funny way of trying to make themselves seem like the victims. 9 times out of 10, we're not the victims. We're the villains.
But I also think, I wouldn't even say 9 times out of 10, I think like what you just said is key of when you were single, that was the mentality you had. And then when you got with a woman and kind of like through our conversations or through my feminine energy or just through me expressing my female side of things to you, you had a better understanding of, all right, this is messed up. Or I can see why that can be frightening to a woman or blah, blah, blah. So like if y'all are in a forum of just guys, and you have no other paradigm or outlook from a female perspective, then you're going to stay in that like ignorant, naive headspace of, oh, we're the victims. So it's not until you try to look at somebody else's perspective that's not your gender, not in your circle, that you, I feel like, will really understand and comprehend the magnitude of those type of situations.
Yeah, I think like the whole me punching stuff, that came from football. I was like real desensitized to the fact that would scare you. Because like during football, we'd come back in the locker room if we're losing or someone's frustrated, they'd just punch a locker or we'd like slam something just to get the frustration out. It never really scared me. It never really scared any of the guys that we were around. Even when we were mad, like outside of football, we would just like punch something. Like, all right. It never really shook us in any way. I guess it's just because it's like, I mean, that's not really like going to intimidate me.
But I think you guys become desensitized to it.
Yeah, I think we just became totally desensitized to it. And then when I did it around you, I saw the fear in your face and I was like, oh, that makes her very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, I started like the transition. I didn't necessarily cut it cold turkey. I would just kind of take it away from you and like go away. But then like after a while, I was like, there's really no point in me taking out my aggression like that. It's not a good habit.
Take it out another way.
Yeah.
And you know, I wonder, like, because Josh's dad is like a football coach. So like later in the last year, we went to one of the football games and it was halftime and the team was losing. And one of their key players or whatever, I guess, was just, oh, your dad got in him about something he was doing wrong. And I was kind of standing this close to the dude, and he punched the crap out of like the garage door. Like that was where the halftime chill out place was, like in this like garage area. He punched the crap out of this door and started kicking stuff, and it terrified me. Like, and this is a little high schooler boy. He wasn't that little, honestly. He was kind of big. But it doesn't matter. Like, just that type of behavior and aggression terrifies me. And I think it's interesting that you brought up, like, you got that from football. And I'm wondering, like, I'm thinking of, like, our future kids and our son. I wouldn't really want him to be like that.
I would say like, it happens in almost all sports with guys.
But how would we balance him out to, like, I mean, I guess that type of stuff is okay sports wise, but like how do you gotta know when that type of stuff is acceptable?
I think it's a matter of teaching them time and place.
Or is it a matter of teaching him how to deal with his anger? Because I don't think that you have to hit something to like release that. or what like maybe you guys weren't taught correctly. A lot of boys weren't taught correctly how to deal with their anger or their emotions, period.
True.
Like, I think this topic goes deeper than just like domestic violence and stuff. Like, if it happens so often, it's almost like, okay, something went wrong in that person's upbringing to think either that behavior was acceptable or they were never, because think like children are kind of like dogs. You got to train dogs to be a certain way, act a certain way. So if children are the same thing, there's certain people who were children at the time not get the proper upbringing and training
on emotional control.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's a big thing that happens with men. Because
I do too. Y'all are taught not
to and address
deal with it like
don't
women
address
are.
your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Men usually only have two emotions. It's either like happy or mad.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can't really differentiate between the emotions, like,
and that's how you were in the beginning of our relationship.
He's like, "Are you sad?" "No, I'm just mad." Mm-hmm. And then like, of course, a reaction of men being mad is they start hitting stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel like,
you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I feel like teaching your kid a sense of emotional
both kids. It don't matter if it's a girl or a boy.
Yeah, like, girls or boys. Like giving them a sense of emotional intelligence will help them in their relationships moving forward because they know how to deal with the emotional stress that comes with a relationship. Right.
Or with sports. Like, because honestly, think about it. He didn't have to hit that garage wall. He was going back on the field in 10 minutes. He could have cracked somebody. Because football's already an aggressive sport. So, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not necessary to do that the extra past you being in the sport. Mm-hmm. So I do think that is probably an issue that people's upbringings aren't teaching them, in particular men, how to deal with those type of emotions, other than to hit something. That's interesting.
It's interesting. We kind of grew.
That's how our conversations are. Like, the way when we talk on camera like this with y'all, like, this is me and his conversations if the camera was off. We kind of just build off the topics and like try to dissect different things.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we just completely diverged.
Yeah, started with domestic
violence.
But I always wonder with stuff like that, though, what does it stem from? Because I know maybe sometimes, too, like, a lot of domestic violence situations happen because the boy saw his dad do it to his mom, or the girl saw the dad do it to her mom. So she gets with a guy or attracts a similar guy, and it's like, oh, it's okay. My mom took that.
Yeah.
Or it's just so much that goes into it. It's so many levels. It's like an onion. It's just so many layers to it.
It's so complex of a situation. It's like you can't really like bite it all off in one video. But like I think it does go back to like the roots of like when you're growing up as a kid, the certain influential factors that happen. Like, did you see it? Were you not taught emotional control? Were you not taught to like embrace your emotions, emotional stability? It took me like what
two, 3
years to get it. And that's after I had gone through about 20 years of just dealing with my emotions on my own. Because I wasn't the type to vent. I wasn't the type to go talk to somebody about how I felt. I was a very keep it to yourself, go in your room, get mad, punch a pillow, do something like physical. And
the crazy thing is you came from a decent upbringing.
Yeah, I came from a good ass upbringing.
Yeah, and his mom is like very sensitive and emotional and stuff. So even someone like you who had that still ended up having an issue with controlling your emotions. That's almost kind of scary to think that you came from a very good, essentially a very good like upbringing, but that was still difficult for you. So imagine people who see it, experience it, don't get any nurturing or anything like your mom gave you, and then still have to deal with their lack of emotional control. That's dangerous.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous cycle.
And I haven't read too much into it. I know we kind of touched on Justine Skye. I don't know if you know who she is. She's like a singer who dated you know who Sheck West is? Is he a rapper or something? Yeah, I guess she dated him and he was like abusive to her or something like that, and different thing. Like, she kind of stayed quiet about it for a long time, but recently a song of hers came out kind of touching on it, and it kind of, I guess, ignited this tension, this public tension that they're having now. They're going back and forth kind of on Twitter, and he's obviously fully denying it. He sounds very believable, but then she's on the other hand kind of saying like, no, so it's just, it sucks because you, like you said, you never know the full story. None of us will ever know because we were never there in that moment with them when whatever situations were happening. But I don't know if it's me being like biased or something, but I do believe her. Just because of like the details and stuff she like goes in depth about. Like she had video footage around her house and he like trespassed into her house. He claims that it was a time where he was trying to get his stuff back from her, and her side of it was, no, you were mad because I put your stuff in trash bags and you said that I'm not allowed to do something like that to a man like you. Like, so it's just interesting, and it sucks that like I feel like those situations, just like cheating or whatever, is already a very like hard and personal thing to go through. So when it's put into a public, like the public eye, where other people, even like me right now giving my opinion on it, that's even worse. Yeah. To like have to go through that type of stuff. So it's just so unfortunate. The whole thing is unfortunate.
Moral of the story is keep your damn hands to yourself.
Pretty much.
The only reason why you should put your hands on your woman is to love her.
What are you gonna say?
Touches. Women don't put your hands on men unless it's supposed to be love touches. Love touches.
Very interesting talk. Well, like we said, you guys, please be sure to leave your comments below, your thoughts on it. If you are comfortable with sharing a story or anything like that in the comment section, very interested in seeing that type of stuff. Definitely be sure to also leave us some more Eat and Chill topics below so that we can keep these coming for y'all. Yeah, you have anything?
Men, keep your hands to yourself. Women, keep your hands to yourself. Relationships are supposed to be for love. It's not supposed to be for a sparring buddy. If you don't have enough self-control to keep peace within your relationship, I don't think you need to be in a relationship.
And pay attention to red flags. And don't be scared to voice your concerns with them when you see them.
And to all the women that are stuck in that situation now, I wish I could put like a help hotline.
There is a domestic violence hotline. We'll be sure to put that on the screen actually.
Yeah. Please get help. Don't just accept that type of life.
Or life.
Because you don't deserve it. Like, I don't care what kind of person you think you are, or what kind of mental abuse that someone may have put you through. Like, don't ever think that you deserve to be physically, verbally, mentally.
All of it.
All of it. Don't ever think that you deserve that. No one deserves that.
I know that's kind of a heavy topic, but we want to always try to like touch on important things on this channel. Like y'all saw the most recent one, the colorism one, because people don't talk about certain topics like that. Yeah. It's too sensitive or whatever, but it's the reality that we all live in, so yeah.
If not the video, maybe the comments can be a discussion forum. Just get the conversation going. I think that's really the purpose of these. Get people talking about stuff that is kind of like the elephant in the room that no one wants to necessarily talk.
But alright, you guys, really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you are new. And yeah, that's all we got?
Yeah, that's all we got. Peace.
Love. That was ugly hard.
That was ugly hard.
Okay. Peace.
Peace.
Love. That's pretty good.
That's good?
Yeah, right
Let's
there.
go.
Okay.
Love.
And here.
And we're out.